Welcome back to Kutia Dev Stage. For our closing keynote, we have the challenges of digital banking that will be delivered by Mr. Goran Bosankic, the CEO of ABC Tech Group. It is my pleasure to pass the virtual floor one last time to Mr. Goran Bosankic. Mr. Goran, can you hear me?
Yes, yeah. Hello? Yeah,
Mr.
can you hear me?
Goran?
Yeah, can you hear me? Hi. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah.
I can hear you, yeah. Can you hear me? Hello?
Can you hear me? Yes, I can
Yes.
hear you. Yes, clearly. You can continue.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
I can start. Sorry, I didn't get the cue, so your colleague didn't tell me that we can start. Okay. Hello, everybody. Let me just share my screen with the presentation. I hope everybody is seeing this. Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the presentation from ABC Tech. My name is Goran Bosankic. I'm CEO of ABC Tech, and I will be talking today about the challenges of digital banking. Try to give you a little bit more of insider perspective from vendor point of view. And let me just start by saying a few words about the company. So ABC Tech Group, we're basically primarily banking tech and software development company. We are present in 5 offices, basically in 4 countries. So we're present in Ljubljana, in Slovenia, in Bosnia, in Croatia, and we also have a presence on Kosovo here, actually in Pristina, in the city where this conference is taking place. And we are headquartered, owned by a company which is headquartered in Luxembourg, the center of financial industry. Basically, what we do, we have 3 main streams when it comes to the business diversity in our portfolio. One of them is just a second to move this. So one of them, which is primarily why we are today, is what we call a banking, digital, and advisory division, where we have a product for digital banking and for additional services that are related to financial industry. With our flagship product Leonis. Then we have a Leonis core and services. Basically, we are providers of end-to-end core banking system for banks, with many of international banking groups being our clients. And the third division is the offshore development, custom development division, which also focuses mainly on clients from the banking, fintech, insurtech industry, which is close to our core business and our main expertise, which is revolving all around banking and financial services. When it comes to our partners and clients, just a few mentioned here, names that are probably very known to you, like Raiffeisen Bank, Sberbank, etc. We have a vast portfolio of partners because we embrace the philosophy of composable banking, where we believe the future of banking will revolve around partnerships of different specialized providers for financial services. So we are, for example, Experian is one of the leading providers of credit scoring and anti-fraud solutions. We are partnering with Mambu, one of the strongest names when it comes to the fintech today. They are powering a digital bank N26, which is very known here in this region. Also, we are their partner for integration implementation, but also our digital banking solution that I mentioned before is part of their marketplace available to their clients, and some of the very well-known names that you see here, like IBM and Microsoft. And we have been recognized for a digital solution also by numerous international organizations. One of the most known, Finovate, where we were present last year with our digital banking on the stage, on the demo stage there. So this is just in short to give you a bit of background. Why am I here today, and why am I talking about a digital banking? And of course, last but not least important, the fact that we are present on Kosovo market with our local office, which is also part of all these three divisions. So doing also the digital banking and the offshore development for banks and fintech institutions. So these times that we are living in and the situation that's surrounding us, that's very well known. I guess most of the conferences are always having this as a main topic, is something that helped digital banking, to be honest, because it took the importance of digital channel to much higher level, actually to the expected level, but much sooner than it was, let's say, planned or expected because of everything that's happening today. A very fresh survey from MasterCard that was published a few weeks ago, from November, also the last month, shown some of the really incredible data that they've been focused on the UK, but nevertheless. So they surveyed citizens about usage of mobile apps, and the digital banking came above the social apps. I mean, that says everything about the popularity and about the rise of the digital channel. Again, mainly because it became today a main channel, not a supportive one, and we are very, very well aware of that fact. And the fact, like I said, that the process has been in major sped up by COVID situation. So there has been a slight paradigm shift here, where basically digital or the online is now being supported by offline, if present at all, at some countries due to the lockdown and other surrounding circumstances about that. So importance of that has never been bigger, but luckily it's not a channel that has not been gaining traction and popularity in the past few years. So it's quite mature, enabling a seamless transition from offline to online, and people are more or less already very well used to it. Huge how to say accolades or huge amount of debt for that, it goes to the challenger banks, the famous Revolut and N26 and some other like Monzo in UK, etc. Who today, for example, Revolut and N26 as the challenger banks hold more than 15 million customers, which is a recent number from less than 2 months ago. And both not only retail, the physical persons, but also the SME, the business customers are gaining more and more traction on those digital only platforms, which by today have grown from providing basic services to enabling advanced value-added services on the market. So becoming on pair with the traditional incumbent banks when it comes to the full rounded service. Of course, we cannot forget about the European Union regulatory part, where PSD2, the open API initiative between banks, helped such financial challengers to introduce some of the very interesting services. Like one of the most known, which Revolut recently introduced, is the possibility to have multiple accounts in one mobile banking app from different banks and have them all in one place. And of course, something that's happening recently, what has been expected in the industry for quite some time, and that's Google entering the banking arena with its Googleplex. starting now in the US, partnering with many banks, enabling users of Google Pay app to use banking services and banking accounts through the application, which will have definitely a significant impact on the industry itself. But not to give all the credit to the challenger banks. The incumbents or the traditional banks, as we call them, have not been set aside for that period of time. So they've been catching up on the challengers because they had to. They had no other choice. Introducing today some of them, not only same but even better level of services, because they so to speak gather their heads and use the extensive knowledge and legacy that they have providing banking services for, I can say, hundreds of years. Plus, as opposed to many challenger digital banking providers, they are already profitable business, so not relying on the investment and investment backers. So they knew a thing or two more than the challengers, and they leverage it on that, leverage on the premium services, focusing on loan and overall providing much better profitability compared to those players. And when it comes to services and user experience, they're becoming better and better. I can say from the example from country where I'm talking from Croatia, we have several really interesting mobile digital channel initiatives from the traditional bank. The recent one coming from the Erste Group, their mobile banking called George, which is present in more than 5 countries, and it's competing side by side with Revolut here and other digital only challengers. So the one who are profiting from all this, of course, are the end users, because they are getting supreme service. So if you talk from the perspective of digital channel and digital banking, it's a word that everybody, you hear it several times a day probably, but what does it really mean? What are the key things that we actually can digitalize today and provide them as a pure digital service? One that is really that became really important in this time is the so-called digital onboarding, meaning that ability to get the customer to onboard it, to have it as your client, completely through several digital steps in the process, where no interaction on physical branch or point of sale is needed. And that's something that was in the focus even prior to this situation, but more than ever today, relying on providers of digital identity and having also challenges in terms of AML and know your customer procedures, because onboarding somebody digitally who will have access to banking services is not the same as when you have it in branch with all those paper documents and signing. So it has to be at least at the same level of security, and very often even more. As a addition to that, as a second part of that process is, of course, digital application for product and services. So as a bank, as a financial institution, today you don't have the luxury, unfortunately, to sell some products in a branch. So you have to use the digital channel to not only push them, which is the easier part, but also to conclude the agreement and to respect the entire process for such services. And this is something that digital channel enables easily, and one of the biggest advantages that you have through there, because you're already in the palm of or in front of the eyes of the customer, and you can target him very, very precisely, which leads to the other advantages, like the interaction and the overall digital management of the client, talking from the customer experience, And one of the most important, of course, for the customer advantage of the availability 24/7. So they don't care about the branch, is it closed or open, it's always there, available for them, servicing them, providing them insight into their financial information. If we talk from the perspective of products and services that are offered in the bank, aforementioned client verification, review of the digital application, whether for opening account or for consuming products of the financial institution, digital approval, digital delivery. This is something that's very important combined with this digital application for product and services. Plus, it's much easier to gather customer opinions and insights from the digital channel because it takes a second or two when you can also segment the customers and target them with marketing campaigns much more precisely than you can do it through some standard and offline or physical location bound services. When combined these two, they provide a huge benefit for the institutions. The digitalization does not only provide benefits for the end customers, of course, it provides benefits for the provider itself, for the banks, financial institutions, because suddenly it enables huge impact on the cost benefit side, because through digital channel, I mean, when you are in a branch, you have to interact one-on-one. You have the banker, you have the client on the branch. To digital channel, one banking expert or teller can service numerous clients through the digital channel, which of course is much more cost effective. Plus, everything that's going through the digital channel is easily recorded and stored and archived, which is usually huge burden for the compliance, because we cannot forget that financial services are heavily regulated, and this is a significant part of their businesses. And of course, as a cherry on top, the integration with third-party services and cross-selling, not only the internal operational, in terms like you mentioned DMS or CRM, where you can easily exchange the information about the customer and target them with products and services, but also it's much easier to introduce some kind of cross-selling interaction, which is popular today. For example, selling insurance through the digital channel, which is usually very close to the banking business, or if you are a bank that doesn't offer some kind of financial product, you can resell it from another institution, etc. So there are numerous options there, which are easily available just by connecting to APIs and signing a contract, and there you are offering a service. But what's the most important thing for the end user in that part is the user experience. So like we saw in the previous slide, so there is no lack of offering. So everybody's there. Challengers are there. The incumbents are there. They are fighting for their share of the market. And all of them have very good, smart teams behind building those digital applications. And they're all fighting for the attention of the customer, because when it comes to the phone, they're all in the same position almost, because it doesn't matter if you have 1,000 branches, if they are marbled with gold-plated doors. When it comes to the phone, you all have the same starting point, and this is something where many fail. Well, it's not an easy task, regardless of if you are big or small. When it comes to our digital solution, we use the philosophy of less is more and clean design, and we engaged experts that are behind numerous banking applications in order to provide this superb customer experience. And still, I think there's always room for improvements, and this is why we are always interactively doing this with our customers, listening to their feedback. There is a quote here. Bain & Company, the advisor company, did the survey in September this year, where they interviewed CEOs of many, let's say, digital service company, not only fintech or banking, but everybody who relies primarily on providing services through digital channel. And 80% of CEOs of those companies degraded the experience from 1 to 5, where the highest the mark was superior experience. 80% of CEOs said that they're sure they're providing the superior experience. And then they face them with the interview with the customers of those companies, and customers, only 8% of customers agreed that they are getting the superior experience on that digital channel. So very often it's a trap where the companies or even banks are falling into building the user experience from their perspective, from the perspective of somebody who knows everything about the product and about the process and about the background that's happening behind the offering, whether it's comprehensive banking or just simple financial services. Whereas and there are usually category of enthusiasts if you talk about them, if you look at them from a consumer perspective. But on the other hand, the audience using digital banking products, very often, majority of them just wants something simple, something clean, something functional, and they don't want to be bothered with too many technicalities or details. They need the overview of their financial health or transactions. They need to be able to send money, receive money, check their transactions, share a bill, or manage their cards, everything in a manner that's very understandable and requires really a minimum learning curve. That's something where incumbents are, I have to admit, learning very, very fast from the challengers, which mastered this art, and they focused on area like onboarding, where they use short process and easy process, enabling customer to onboard in a matter of minutes, because they know, if they don't do it, they will lose the customer, and they constantly monitor what's happening on their products. They use the use it or lose it philosophy. Basically, if less than a certain percent of end users is not using some functionality or feature, they just remove it in the next update, because they want to enhance the customer experience. And for example, they do a lot of updates, which was previously very rarely done by incumbent banks. You had the mobile banking; it was same for 2-3 years, even maybe more. That's something that changed with the challenger banks and the pioneers in digital. Of course, we encounter a lot of buzzwords today when it comes to digital channel. The aforementioned digital onboarding, artificial intelligence, personal finance managers, digital products. But what is the real truth behind it? How really are they used and applicable on a real life? What challenges do we have? Digital onboarding is certainly one of the most important, one of the most widely spread there. Almost every application supports it, but it has the most challenges because it's prone to the regulation. It requires highest level of security, and it's not easy to be satisfied with some simple process. And this is where banks, depending from country to country, encounter really the biggest challenges. In European countries, for example, it requires video verification, which is followed by issuing a cloud certificate for identity, which must be provided by vendors who are certified on the level of European Union. Plus, there are extensive questionnaires for politically exposed person, and there are additional information and documentation that needs to be gathered, which is not very it's not always easy to do it through a mobile phone or through a mobile channel. So a lot of focus has been done, and we have put a lot of attention in our application also on that process, making it as much as easier as possible for the end user. Because like I said at the beginning, the playing field is leveled up between small and the big players on the market. So it's all about the phone and the user experience. So if you want to play equally with everybody, you need to have a supreme experience here, because if I don't like your process, I will just download another app and try with them if they are much more simple. When it comes to digital products, this is also something that's a buzzword, and very often players on the market are bragging about it, but it's not such a simple thing to introduce. It is one of the perfect areas of application for composable banking, for cross-selling, collaboration between the different players on the market. They have an extremely low cost of acquisition, but it still lacks real application in this entire region where we are present. Due to legacy, due to old backend systems, it's not very easy to combine everything and expose it as a simple digital product to the end user through the digital channel. So, what's the future when it comes to digital banking? So for sure, a stronger omnichannel focus, because it's not only about the mobile; it's also about the web. And for some application like SME, web is something that cannot be disregarded. And definitely all-in-one app approach with increased offering of value-added services and products in one application, in one system. So for example, even today, even our app combines both retail mobile banking and SME, meaning business mobile banking. So one person that's business owner and has its private account can use the same app. Plus, there are more and more mentioned services that are coming to the mobile application, like making payments, even accepting payments, creating invoices, etc. And this is we're going to see much more of that. Of course, in the area where the regulation enables it, use of PSD2 and SEPA instant payments, the advanced regulated payment services. And of course, artificial intelligence, moving from simple applications that today very often it's just about chatbots with some AI-based responses, etc., is going to increase more and more in terms of using the available data and provide personalized experience and products to the end users, something similar like it's used today on social networks. And of course, the mentioned composable banking 2.0, the collaboration between, perhaps participants that are today not seen as somebody who can collaborate very easily, will become more and more available on digital platforms. And something when we talk about digital banking, which is huge thing coming behind the corner, which is Google Plex. So application that is backed by incredibly huge global data-driven platform that enables and offers banking services. How this is going to disrupt the entire market and how this is going to affect is yet to be seen, but I'm pretty sure that this is something that we will all keep an eye on in the years to come, and banks will not be able to disregard it, and they will have to find a model how to collaborate together with them. So I think my time is up. It's 30 minutes altogether. So if you have any questions, I'm very happy to provide you with answers. Vesa?
Yes, we don't have any questions, so I would like to thank you for your time and for your insight on challenges of digital banking. This sums up everything that we had prepared for this edition of KosICT. I want to thank all of our speakers, all of our staff and sponsors that made everything happen. And last but not least, I want to thank our audience, our virtual audience, for being with us these past 2 days. So see you guys the next edition of KosICT. Thank you.